Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's the man. Like, remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
Well, I think she died because she had 1,000 plastic surgeries. But
yeah, she was going under.
Yeah.
She just sees these big black arms coming over her face. Big Mike.
Michelle Obama is literally going down for the third time into this pool of self-involvement, and you don't think she's going to come up again. Like, she's dying of affluence, privilege, and self-obsession, obviously.
Everything she says is negative.
Behind the stage smiles and endless media worship, Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson rip apart the carefully polished image that's been built around Michelle Obama. They torch the double standards, the elitist hypocrisy, and the overblown narratives that treat fortune cookie cliches like historic wisdom. From failed crusades to billionaire vacations disguised as humility, they dismantle the brand piece by piece. The result isn't an icon, it's a product that collapses the moment the spotlight isn't propping it up.
Michelle Obama, we're sad to tell you, has menopause. It's not clear where she caught it. Maybe there was an outbreak in Edgartown, but it's bad.
You have this slow creep.
You have this slow creep. And no, she's not talking about Joe Biden here, who is technically one of the slowest creeps in America. She's talking about her own thighs. Now, why is Michelle Obama telling you about her menopausal thighs on a TV show? Possibly because she's a crazed narcissist who thinks her own thighs are interesting to you.
Michelle Obama has been packaged for years as America's flawless queen of inspiration, but Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson ripping into her is like finally peeling the glossy wrapping off a product that doesn't actually work. Rogan hits her with blunt force sarcasm, while Tucker slices through the layers of media hype with surgical precision. And together, they turn the Obama brand into the political version of a used motivational poster left out in the rain.
We've been watching clips from her podcast over the past couple of weeks. Everything she says is negative. I mean, you would never know you are hearing from a woman who is first lady for 8 years, has become probably a billionaire by this point, is out on David Geffen's yacht every other summer, her estate in Martha's Vineyard, her daughters who went to these Tony schools. You would think you were listening to somebody basically like the wife of a George Floyd. And she's never gotten over whatever grievance she had growing up. I love how the soundbite begins. Okay, it's not the fear for myself. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. Unbelievable, right? Who talks about themselves that way?
If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. The entire Michelle Obama mystique has always relied on the media, treating her like she's untouchable, as if she's the modern Mona Lisa smiling down at a grateful nation. But Rogan's roast cuts that down instantly. He tears into how every public appearance of Michelle comes with a lecture disguised as empowerment, like she's the nation's substitute teacher who never leaves. She delivers cliches about hard work and perseverance as if she invented them, while ignoring the fact that her whole career was turbocharged by marrying a guy who was on his way to the White House. Tucker jumps in by mocking the self-made myth, pointing out that Michelle's trajectory wasn't grit and grind. It was political royalty grooming itself for prime time.
Whoever did Madonna's face was working on Joan Rivers first and perfecting the craft.
The face killer.
He got
it. He'll get you.
Go to see if you can find Joan Rivers saying Michelle Obama's a man. The video.
No, I don't, my darling. Just hold it, mister. I was given a boarding pass with the wrong name on it. I went through 5 different security passes, and then a woman at the gate who will not look at my passport, who will not call Continental, who will not call for help, who will not recheck into their records, says to me, you cannot go on? No, she is a moron.
What? That had nothing to do with that, Jamie.
Look what the title says.
I know,
it's on CNN's...
but that's not it. If you go to it, that's the wrong video. It's absolutely the wrong video.
Why would they label
hold
it?
on, Jamie, there's a video of her and she's walking into her apartment building.
Right here, I just was playing the one that.
That's it. This is the one.
Or the first woman
We already
president.
have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all know it. So what year was that, Jamie, that she said that?
I have no idea.
The obsession with her fitness campaigns gave Tucker an entire arsenal. He roasted the infamous school lunch crusade that left American kids staring at trays of limp lettuce and cardboard-tasting mystery patties. The program was supposed to inspire healthy eating, but instead inspired memes about starvation. Rogan laughed at how Michelle strutted around promoting kale like she had solved childhood obesity, while kids quietly traded her salads for pizza slices behind the cafeteria. Tucker made it even worse by pointing out how the elite praise for her lunch program was completely disconnected from reality. Another example of Washington elites thinking they know best while actual kids gagged on their balanced meals.
Millions, because this is the safest country for everybody, no matter what your color is, or it was in any case. So like, that's just so old-fashioned. I mean, it's really like you expect her to say, let me fax you my thoughts on this. Because it's just like, she's so out of it. The second thing is that, like, we always beat up on, you know, rich white ladies because they're the most disruptive force in America, but that's unfair. It's not about color. There's something about the people with the most in our country that's really poisonous. They're the unhappiest, they're the most restless, they're the most self-involved.
Michelle's reputation as a fashion icon didn't escape either. Rogan mocked how the media gushes over her every outfit as if she's walking the Paris runway instead of giving a speech about school reforms. He shredded the constant Vogue covers and fawning photo shoots, saying it all felt like PR overcompensation for someone who isn't actually that interesting. Tucker backed him up by skewering the obsession with Michelle's style, calling it the shallow distraction that covers up the lack of substance. If the clothes are the headline, it's probably because the message underneath isn't worth repeating.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
But nothing makes Rogan laugh harder than the whispers about Michelle running for president. Rogan roasted the absurdity of liberals fantasizing about another Obama presidency, like America is supposed to sit through a sequel no one asked for. He pointed out that Michelle has 0 real political achievements, 0 governing experience, and yet somehow she's hyped as the savior of democracy. Tucker, of course, went deeper, saying the whole push for Michelle is proof of how empty the Democratic bench really is. When your best plan for the future is recycling someone's spouse, you're not running a party, you're running a nostalgia act. Her endless memoirs and speaking tours became another punching bag. Rogan mocked the irony of someone who constantly lectures about humility while cashing in on million-dollar book deals and arena tours. He compared her memoirs to glorified self-help books dressed up as literature, filled with recycled life advice wrapped in the glow of Obama mythology. Tucker roasted how every one of these books becomes an instant bestseller, not because people are desperate to hear her wisdom, but because the media and political elite force feed the idea that she's a cultural giant. In reality, it's less genuine inspiration and more mandatory worship.
I will not run for president.
I've heard you say I think Michelle should run.
She could win. She could win, I think. I think if she ran, she could win.
Did you ever run for office?
No.
I have to ask it.
No.
No kind of office?
No.
I don't think she wants that, though.
No,
I don't think she wants that in her life. The bull that they dealt with over the 8 years when he was president.
Because I've got these 2 young people at home. Being the kids, the daughters of a president, just think about it. Not so easy.
That job for anybody that really good at it.
Yeah, I trust the person who doesn't want the job more than the person who wants the job.
It's not something that I'm interested in or would ever do, ever.
The role model narrative is another house of cards Tucker loves to knock over. Michelle is presented as the ultimate symbol for young women, yet her speeches always boil down to rehearsed platitudes and canned emotion. Rogan shredded how she's marketed as if she's some fearless trailblazer, when in truth she played the safest game possible, standing in the shadow of one of the most media-protected presidents in history and smiling for the cameras. Tucker twisted the knife further by saying Michelle's brand is basically a calculated performance, polished to perfection, designed to hide how little there is behind the act. Rogan especially enjoyed tearing into Michelle's habit of lecturing ordinary Americans while living like royalty. He mocked her relatable persona that falls apart every time she jets off on private planes or vacations on billionaire estates. Nothing screams authenticity like telling people to sacrifice while sipping champagne on Martha's Vineyard. Tucker drove the point home by roasting how the media never calls out the hypocrisy, because the Obamas are treated as America's chosen dynasty, shielded from criticism no matter how blatantly elitist they become.
Miserable, and it's obvious and always has been. And I do think maybe so you look at something like that and you're like, okay, what are the lessons for me? You know, you look at other people's lives and they either go up or down, they succeed or they fail, and you try to take important lessons for yourself in your own life. And one of the lessons that I've always thought Michelle Obama's life presented to the rest of us is take some time to focus on your marriage. If you're happy in your marriage, you know, you can feel it, you can smell it. You know, you're emanating a kind of peace, a tranquility. You know, you're going home to a spiritual fortress.
Even her image as America's mom didn't survive. Rogan went after the condescending tone she adopts, like the nation's collective parent scolding the public for not measuring up. It's a brand of politics that replaces policy with life lessons, turning serious issues into shallow pep talks. Tucker picked that apart by highlighting how infantilizing it really is. The idea that citizens need Michelle Obama to guide them, as if the country is full of school children waiting for permission to eat their vegetables. The fitness obsession is another easy roast. Rogan laughed at the fact that Michelle built an entire legacy around jumping jacks and push-ups, as if leading a few aerobic sessions counts as statesmanship. Tucker pointed out the double standard in how Michelle gets praised for a few fitness events, while other political spouses get mocked for doing far less. It's all part of the inflated myth-making around her. A few photo ops turned into an entire legacy, and of course, the inevitable glamour shots of Michelle flexing her arms became roast material too.
Help me out on this.
J-Mo.
We have to have done Big Mike before.
I don't think we did Big Mike.
I don't know if we did. Tim Dillon definitely did.
We did Big Mike with Tim.
Did Tim Dillon's video, did that get removed from Twitter?
What do you mean? Which one?
Someone put on Instagram, I believe, that Tim Dillon's video where he was saying that Michelle Obama should run for president. If she won, she could pull her cock out and China would just give up. I was fucking wheezing. I couldn't breathe. Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Rogan cracked jokes about how the media worshipped her biceps like they were monuments of American democracy. Tucker reminded everyone how ridiculous it looked when journalists fawned over her iconic arms, as if toned muscles somehow equaled leadership. The more the press exaggerated, the more laughable it became. The deeper point both Rogan and Tucker hit is that Michelle Obama has become a symbol less of achievement and more of marketing. She's the living embodiment of the political industrial complex, where every gesture, every outfit, every word is curated to perfection and sold back to the public as brilliance. Rogan mocked the phoniness of it, the staged relatability, the carefully rehearsed speeches designed to sound authentic but dripping with artifice. Tucker stripped away the layers to show the truth. Michelle isn't an icon, she's a product. And like any overhyped product, the reality never matches the glossy packaging. At the end of the roast, Michelle Obama doesn't stand as the invincible figure the media wants her to be. Instead, she's exposed as the carefully manufactured brand she always was, propped up by nostalgia, sustained by PR, and shielded from scrutiny by a media too invested in her myth to admit the obvious.
This is the accusation. They're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American.
Tucker's razor-sharp analysis cut through the facade until there's nothing left but the awkward reality. Without the Obama name and the protective glow of media adoration, Michelle Obama is just another political celebrity with nothing new to say. And that's why this roast hits so hard. It's not just about Michelle Obama, it's about the culture of media worship that built her up into something larger than life. Rogan and Tucker don't just destroy the image, they expose the entire machinery behind it. The myth crumbles, the polish fades, and what's left is a political figure who was always more brand than substance. Rogan never missed the chance to highlight the irony in Michelle's endless branding as a unifier, while every time she steps on stage, she delivers speeches soaked in subtle division. He mocked how she cloaks criticism in the language of hope, dressing down half the country with a smile plastered across her face. Tucker seized on that too, pointing out that Michelle's rhetoric is a masterclass in passive-aggressive politics, scolding Americans in one breath while demanding applause in the next.
In a normal life, your marriage is the core of everything. A happy marriage produces happy people and happy children. And I just don't think she spent a lot of time on that. I mean, she really dislikes her husband. Super obvious. I'm not just saying that to be catty. I feel I think I'm trying to feel compassion for her, but her hostility toward the guy is like unbelievable. And it's been
everything
obvious
she says is negative.
About him, for
how
sure,
long have we known each other?
2007.
I can't even think of one negative comment you've ever made about Susie. I almost never say negative things about Doug. It's not.
The cult of Michelle thrives on this contradiction. Rogan roasted how people swoon when she delivers basic motivational lines, the kind you could pull from a fortune cookie, yet act like they've just heard Socrates reborn. He laughed at the absurdity of treating her TED Talk level cliches as if they're groundbreaking revelations. Tucker added that the only reason her speeches feel historic is because the media declares them so before she even opens her mouth. It's not inspiration, it's manufactured awe. Then there's the absurdity of the Obama family fortune. Rogan shredded the way Michelle lectures about inequality while raking in millions from Netflix deals, book contracts, and speaking fees that dwarf the lifetime earnings of the average American. He mocked the charade of her being relatable, pointing out that the only thing she relates to these days is which mansion to vacation in. Tucker cut even deeper, noting how the Obamas built a post-White House empire while still pretending to be outsiders fighting for the common person. The hypocrisy is so blatant, it practically begs for mockery.
Good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got to...
Even Michelle's cultural influence became a target. Rogan laughed at how every Hollywood celebrity trips over themselves to call her an icon, as if praising Michelle is a mandatory requirement for staying in the industry. He roasted the idea that Michelle's playlist recommendations or outfit choices get treated like matters of national importance, mocking how journalists rush to cover every mundane detail like it's newsworthy. Tucker, meanwhile, skewered the desperation of a political movement clinging to Michelle as a cultural figurehead, because without her, the brand loses its shine. The possible 2028 candidate narrative is another running gag. Rogan joked that the idea of Michelle suddenly caring about policy is as believable as her joining the UFC. The exaggeration is so over the top, it collapses under its own weight. What Rogan and Tucker expose is that Michelle Obama's legacy isn't built on achievements, but on image management. Every part of her brand has been polished, packaged, and sold to the public as greatness. But once the shine is stripped away, what remains is the uncomfortable truth. Michelle Obama is less a leader and more a carefully curated celebrity, thriving in a system that rewards symbolism over substance.